Hey there. Welcome to Thoughts Knob Live, my weekly show on the Tickety Top. It's good to see you all. It's not your first? I recognize some of you. If it's your first time here, let me know. This is my weekly show where I talk about non-traditional pathways to success and healing and out of the ordinary living. And today is about self-sabotage. So please hit that like this live so this is pushed out far and wide. Presley, Laura, hey Laura. Carmel Soul, Trickster, Stacy, Stephanie, Laura, Kaz, welcome everybody. Thrilled to have you. Today we're going to talk about self-sabotaging. And you might be self-sabotaging. Good afternoon to you, Penny. You might be self-sabotaging if you just try so hard and you just hit one roadblock after another. If that resonates, let me know in the comments. If that resonates, please pay close attention to this workshop because we're going to talk about self-sabotaging behaviors, where they come from, how to identify those. I'm going to tell you a few personal stories that might help you see the big picture and make you become aware if you're self-sabotaging, because usually we don't realize what we're doing. I did not realize what I was doing. So for those of you who have just joined, welcome. This is Thoughts Knob Live. I'm Paula Swope. I come on live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on TikTok and bring you this weekly show where I talk about non-traditional pathways to success and healing and out of the ordinary ways of living. And I am credentialed out the wazoo. I've got more degrees than a thermometer, but where people really benefit from my work is my wisdom, because I have been there, and through trial and error, I can tell you how to turn self-sabotaging behaviors around. And if you feel like you're self-sabotaging, I hope you stick with me for this next hour. We're going to talk about that, how to identify it, talk about where it comes from, and how you can put a stop to it. And if you try really, really hard, like you put forth a lot of effort, let's just say maybe you work in a job where you're working harder than your coworkers and you're out working them, but they get the promotions, they get the pay increases, they get the freaking praise, and you just kind of sit there empty-handed. In a lot of situations, you could be self-sabotaging and not realize it. No judgment here. I was the absolute poster child for self-sabotage, and I did it for 30-something years before I realized what was going on. And when I realized what was going on, I was able to fix it. So if you feel stuck and you can't figure out why, well, you kind of can't get unstuck if you don't realize what's going on. So that's why I wanted to talk about self-sabotaging behaviors today. And it's something I really haven't talked a lot about on social media. So I am really excited to bring this to you today, because my goal for today is for you to have a breakthrough. And I'm telling you, it's possible. It's absolutely possible. So continue to like that live. Let's pay it forward. Let's get as many people in here as we can. Really, honestly, most people self-sabotage. And until you become aware that you're doing it, you can't fix it, right? So, welcome everybody. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to kick off and get started. And if you have any questions while I'm talking, I'll stop and answer those. So what I want to do is I want to talk about what self-sabotage is. And if any of you feel like you know what self-sabotage is, please drop it in the comments so we can all be in this together and have a meaningful conversation and get the most out of our time here together, because today is about helping you have a breakthrough, okay? And if that breakthrough can come from me, great. Kira says self-doubt. Kira's right. That is definitely a form of self-sabotage. Before I get into what self-sabotage is, I want you to know that self-sabotaging behaviors are directly linked to manifestation. I'm telling you. Because you're always manifesting. But if you're out here operating on a subconscious level, then you are creating people, places, and things that you don't want. I can't see your name. Holding yourself back, I think they said intentionally. Yes. Or unintentionally. Like holding yourself back, period. That is a self-sabotaging behavior. But where does it come from? Okay? Why do we do this shit? Right? Why would we ever self-sabotage ourselves? I'm going to tell you why. Because of subconscious programming. We're about to get into all this. We're going to get into all of it. We're going to tackle it. We're going to murder it. We're going to get rid of it. Okay? Fear. Hell yeah. Absolutely. That's one of the main. We don't think we're good enough. That was me. Oh my God. That's one of the biggest ones. All spawns from fear. Right? All right. So, self-sabotaging behaviors are considered self-sabotaging when they interfere with your daily life. We don't feel deserving. Help others before helping ourselves. Yes, right? That's self-sabotaging. Giving somebody else what they need instead of giving ourselves what we need. I did that bullshit for years. Why do we do it? I'm going to solve the puzzle for you today as to why we do it. Hey, Angela. Glad to see you here. All right. So as I talk, I want you to just, I'm sure you have important things to say, but I cannot listen to that southern drawl. Okay. Peace out. So when you think about self-sabotaging behaviors, a good way to, hey Raven, a good way to identify those is what behaviors are you engaging in that are interfering with your goals, interfering with the quality of your life? What behaviors are holding you back? No matter how badly you want to move forward, what are you doing that's holding you back? These are some things to be thinking about while I'm talking here, and I'm hoping that you have some epiphanies. Trump Treasure says eating uncontrollably. I used to do that. I did that a lot. Binge eating is absolutely a form of self-sabotage. Some other common signs are procrastination, negative self-talk, fear of success, self-medicating, comfort eating, okay, binge eating, self-injury, okay? Now, we all have bad days. We all have bad days. And we might fall off track and we might just be like, fuck it, I'm going to eat this whole cake. I'm going to drink this whole 6-pack of beer. And overindulge and knowing what we're doing, knowing that it's going to make us feel bad, but we do it anyway. If you do that every once in a while, I mean, I'm saying, once in a blue moon or something, okay, that's not necessarily self-sabotaging. I mean, one day is different. One day a year is different than several days a week. There are levels, and I want you to be aware of that, okay? How often are you engaging in these behaviors? Because the definition of self-sabotage is when it interferes with your daily life, all right? Jacqueline, we're talking about self-sabotaging behaviors, where they come from, identifying them, and then I'm going to teach you how to stop, break those patterns, break away from it. we're gonna rewrite your subconscious story today, okay? My goal is for you guys, for anybody that needs to have a breakthrough. That's what today is for, okay? And as I was saying earlier, I am credentialed out the wazoo. I've got more degrees than a thermometer, but what it boils down to is my wisdom and what I've learned through trial and error. Yes, I am highly credentialed to give you the advice, to coach you, to help you release emotions and break subconscious patterns, but I have done it myself. And that's the one thing that makes me the most qualified. There's no judgment here in this space. I am not going to judge you, no matter what you say in the comments, period. I have gotten to a level of emotional intelligence that I am not remotely fazed by what anybody says or does. I'm immune to criticism and flattery, and I'm not going to judge you. This is a safe space, so say whatever you feel like saying in the comments, and no judgment here, because if you're self-sabotaging, I've been in your shoes, all right? And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And the first step is to become aware of your self-sabotaging behaviors. And that's the first part of our time today, is to help you become aware of that. At this point, I have covered what self-sabotage is, some common signs, and at this point, I hope you're thinking critically about some behaviors that might be self-sabotaging behaviors. And if you identify something, feel free to share it in the comments or journal about it while I talk here. If you like to write, this is an excellent journaling opportunity. And anytime I sit down with just me and my ink pen, things come out. It's therapeutic. It opens up a channel so information can flow, okay? Next step, where does this shit come from? Right? Where does this self-sabotaging come from? Subconscious programming. Look no further. That's where it comes from. And it starts when we're in the womb. It's sneaky too. It's real sneaky. That's why you usually don't recognize it when you're self-sabotaging. You think you're unlucky. I used to be the poster child for those thought patterns, and I self-sabotaged for over 30 years because I did not know what was happening. And here's a personal example of what self-sabotage looked like for me. And if this resonates with you, then please let me know in the comments, all right? This is why I say self-sabotaging is sneaky. As far back as I can remember, and I'm talking about kindergarten here, kindergarten, I felt inferior to my peers. I felt inferior. Like I just immediately conformed and, did whatever, authority told me to do. And I would compare myself to my peers, and I would just think that they were better than me. And I know where that came from now, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But at the time, I still remember how I felt. Like that was my default thinking. So I was painfully unaware of that my subconscious behaviors or subconscious beliefs were controlling my behaviors. And because I was unaware, wow, me also, okay. Does manifesting happen instantly, or is it a continuous process? Oh my God, that is a loaded question. And if you'll give me just a minute, I will end up answering that, because this talk about self-sabotage is directly related to manifestation, because every single thing that you say, think, do, and feel, it's going straight to your source of manifestation. Okay. So if you're self-sabotaging like frequently and it's interfering with your life, then you are going to manifest some stuff that you absolutely don't want. Hey, Martina. I always felt that way, but I wasn't a conformist. I stood up to everyone and everything, still do. I became rebellious at one point. But when I was really, really young, oh my God, I was so timid and I felt so inferior. And I would look at my classmates and I just felt like they were better than me. And that's where the self-sabotage started. Well, that from my memory, that's where it started, okay? Canoe, how do you get out of your own way? Getting ready to answer that right now, okay? That's what this whole thing is about, all right? So, since I believed that I just didn't measure up, I projected my insecurities onto other people. I mean, friends and foes alike. I mean, I didn't discriminate. I would harshly criticize anyone that I was jealous of, because searching for what was good enough, not good enough in them, was easier than dealing with how I really felt. And searching for what was not good enough in them and verbalizing that to as many people as possible made me feel superior. But that feeling, I mean, I didn't feel superior long. I mean, it was like a fleeting moment of arrogance, because I was repressing my emotions. And I want to point something out. Jealousy is a self-sabotaging behavior. And it comes straight from that subconscious. And it is such a misdirected emotion. Now, right here is how you can approach something like jealousy with emotional intelligence. People who are emotionally intelligent are just happier and more successful across the board. And the glorious thing about emotional intelligence is it's not like an IQ. It can be learned and cultivated. And everything I'm teaching you right now is one big lesson in emotional intelligence. The next time you feel jealousy towards another person, you're jealous of somebody, think about why you're jealous of them. What's the truth of that? It's because they have something that you want. That's why we're jealous of people. They have something we want. Well, instead of letting jealousy just eat us alive, because it's really interchangeable with hate. We're doing damage to ourselves. The person we're jealous of, we're not doing any damage to them. Okay? So, choose yourself and think, what can I learn from that person? You don't have to like them, but you can learn from them and watch and see how did they get what you want. Because if they can get it, you can get it. We're all from the same source. All of us. Equal playing ground. I know some people are born at an advantage. I know some people are born at a disadvantage, but I've seen both types of people. I've seen people born at an advantage absolutely destroy their lives despite being born with the silver spoon. And then I've seen people born at a complete disadvantage that had everything against them. But they prevailed and created a wonderful, abundant life for themselves. So I've seen both sides of the fence, and I'm sure you guys have too. So if you can view jealousy objectively, you're going to come out ahead. All right? And I have to point out that when you look at anything through an objective lens, you're looking at the facts. That's what my whole book's about. SNOB is an acronym. See new objective beliefs. Look at facts. And you will start to rewrite your subconscious story. Thank you, Irish Kiss. Thank you. You're wonderful for being here. I wouldn't be able to do what I love to do if you weren't here. So Thought Snob, the modern spiritual playbook for a better life. If you're serious about rewriting your subconscious story, get a copy. It's available on Amazon and Audible, paperback, Kindle, and audiobook, okay? This is the real deal. I wrote it for people who self-sabotage because that was me, okay? All right, so I mentioned a few minutes ago that I don't want to get off on a tangent, and I'm looking down at my notes here. So I mentioned a few minutes ago that self-sabotaging is sneaky, because it is. It's very, very sneaky. So here are some ways. I'm going to go over this again, adding to it a little bit from what I said earlier. Here are some ways that you're self-sabotaging. You have a fear of failure versus fear of success. You're more focused on failing than you are succeeding. And that's something that consistently holds you back. Next one I want to mention, and boy, does this apply to me. Shit. Overthinking and perfectionism. Where are my perfectionists at? Do I have any perfectionists in the room? Perfectionism has taken my ass down more than once. Martina, Penny, yep. Lizzie, overthinker. All that comes from our subconscious programming. Perfectionism with me came from feeling like I had to be better. Jessica is a perfectionist in recovery. Good for you, type A perfectionist here. Yep. Tell me if this resonates, because I want to know where your perfectionism came from. Mine came from the feel inferior. And so I felt like I had to outperform, outdo, impress people, prove my worth in order for them to like me, much less love me. Because I was raised by a narcissist. And when you are close to a narcissist, they get bored easily. And they have like this brutal list of favorites. Like the favoritism is just grotesque and asinine. And you'll be number one on that list. But you'll get replaced like that. And you don't even know what the fuck happened. You're just sitting there going, oh God. And as a kid, I was constantly stepping up my game. Constantly giving that person what I thought they wanted. And it was an attention thing. From upbringing and religious upbringing makes you want to be a perfectionist. Oh, you better believe it. My grandfather was a holiness preacher. I talk a lot about that in my book. And I was raised with a very unhealthy fear of going to hell. I mean, like everything I did, I thought, I'm going to hell. I got sick of that shit. I got sick of that. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yes, that will cause us to, that subconscious programming, it's in there. And it absolutely causes us to self-sabotage. Because when you're brought up to believe these outlandish things about the Bible and about God. Okay, Laura, Southern Baptist, that's pretty close to holiness and Pentecostal, right? And when we're brought up with that type of mindset, then we feel very guilty when we step into being who we really are or doing what we really want to do. We feel very guilty. And we might keep it a secret and placate and all that bullshit. And that's all self-sabotage. Jensine, Carolina. Paula, would you ever do a book signing in Cincinnati? Joseph Beth Booksellers is a great place. I would love to do a book signing in Cincinnati, but I'm not sure if they're Joseph Beth takes self-published authors. But if they do, and they would let me in there, oh, absolutely. Would love to do that. So, just want to bring an awareness to these things that sneak up on you, and it's self-sabotage hiding, okay? Here's another one, and this applies to me too. Staying in toxic patterns will kill you. Relationships, money habits. Toxic patterns are the epitome of self-sabotage, okay? So I won't focus on that any longer. Let's move on to some exercises that will help you break free, okay? Because you know what? It's just time to stop the madness, start the miracles, rewrite your subconscious story. Because your subconscious will believe anything you tell it consistently, all right? We can stop the madness. I did it. If I can do it, I'm telling you, anybody can do it. Martina, oh hell yes, you know my toxic patterns, but I've learned a lot. Yes, you have, and you've successfully broken away from a lot of stuff that many people haven't been able to break away from. So I'm proud of you, Martina. I always have been, always will be. So the first step to break free from these self-sabotaging patterns is to identify the patterns, okay? And this is a way to integrate emotional intelligence into your daily life. And an excellent way to do this is to consider your emotional triggers. Now, this would be a good time to journal while I walk you through these exercises. If you like to journal, get out your pen and paper, because I'm getting ready to ask you some questions. Now, what you can do here is, if you want to journal, if you like to write, then get out your pen and paper. And as I ask you these questions, don't overthink it. Don't try to not overthink. Just write the first thing that comes to mind. Another thing that you can do is you can just close your eyes and focus on your breath. And as I walk you through these questions, silently repeat the questions to yourself and see what comes up. There's no pressure here. You can this is private. You don't have to tell anybody what comes up. This is for you. This is an awareness exercise for you, okay? And there are no right or wrong answers, okay? All right, first question. How do you feel right before you engage in a self-sabotaging behavior? Someone brought up binge eating in the beginning of our session. So I'll use that as an example. How do you feel right before you binge eat? If that's a self-sabotaging behavior for you. It was for me. So, how do you feel right before you engage in a self-sabotaging behavior? How do you feel right before you give in to that instant gratification? How you feel? Who's involved? Is anybody involved? There usually is. One source of self-sabotage is your social circle. So, who distracts you from your goals? Who triggers you emotionally? Holistic housewife, I can't figure out why I can't lose weight. I feel I have a mental block, but I can't find it. Well, this is definitely the place for you right now. Just follow along. You might get some answers, okay? I'll repeat those questions one more time, okay? Who's involved? Is anybody involved in your self-sabotaging behaviors? Who distracts you from your goals? Who causes you to fall off track? Who triggers you emotionally? What are the circumstances of those situations? What are the circumstances of those situations? Now, how do you feel after you self-sabotage? What's that feeling after you do it? Now, how often do you self-sabotage? Sasha, oh, thank you. I'm 48, looking good as a full-time job. I appreciate that compliment. I also think healing our inner child helps with not self-sabotage. We need to heal our wounds to grow. Oh, God, yeah. Actually, I always feel like eating when my husband gets home, immediately when he walks through. Okay, Trump Treasure, that is a profound level of awareness. So, since you're aware of that, if the eating takes you over, it interferes with your daily life, you're aware of it, that means you can do something about it, okay? That's what this whole session is about. Raven, we're the same age. All right. Are you in the stages of good old menopause? I'm post-menopausal. I went through perimenopausal early. Okay, so I hope that some answers surfaced as I walked you through those questions. Peri is going on now. Whew! May the force be with you, my friend. Opal, post-menopausal. Same. I'm over the hump. Over the hump. It does get better, but I think Peri was probably the worst. Perimenopause ripped me to shreds. Okay, how long does menopause last? Well, pretty your entire life. I mean, after you hit perimenopause, I mean, you're in. I mean, you become postmenopausal, and that you're postmenopausal the rest of your life. That's just a fact. I didn't know enough about menopause because nobody wants to talk about it. And I discovered this doctor. She's all over social media. Dr. Marie Claire Haver. I bought her book. It's somewhere around here. Look her up. Anything you want to know about the stages of menopause, she can tell you. And Halle Berry has recently been speaking out about menopause too, and she's delivering a lot of great information. So is Drew Barrymore. A lot of free resources out there, and the more you educate yourself, and the more you know, and the more you understand what's going on, the more you can do things that can help you feel better. And if this is any motivation or inspiration to anybody, I'm 48 years old, postmenopausal. I'm in the best shape and health of my life. I feel better than I did 20 years ago. That is no joke. No joke. So it's all about how you take care of yourself and how informed you are about menopause, okay? It does not have to be a complete death sentence, all right? All right, so we just went over those self-reflection questions about self-sabotaging behaviors. And I want to move on to a mindfulness exercise that you can use daily to, this helps you disidentify with challenging emotions that lead to self-sabotage. You're going to label emotions. Again, you can write about this or you can just think about it. But when challenging emotions arise, name them right away. Like when you feel them coming on, stop what you're doing and mentally label them. Okay? If somebody pisses you off, if somebody hurts your feelings, if somebody, embarrasses you, the moment that you feel those emotions coming on, stop what you're doing and label that emotion. Now, once you label the emotion, use this statement right here. And you can silently repeat it to yourself or say it out loud. It's whatever you feel most comfortable doing. So let's just use, for example, let's use embarrassment. This is just an example to show you how this statement works. So let's say embarrassment is the emotion that you identified and you labeled it, okay? So you would say, I feel embarrassed, but I'm not embarrassment. This puts you in check because it helps you to observe something that's happening in that moment. But just because it's happening in that moment doesn't mean it defines you. You aren't your emotions. You are the feeler of your emotions. You aren't your thoughts. You're the observer and the thinker of those thoughts. So this can help you disidentify with those self-sabotaging emotions, okay? Because I'm calling them, they're disempowering emotions that lead to self-sabotage, okay? That takes some mindfulness. It takes some being mindfully aware. When you can get to the point that instead of reacting or allowing that emotion to take you over and cause you to self-sabotage, you can just stop and say, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now, but this isn't me. This doesn't define me. This isn't going to control me. This is just what I'm feeling right now. And I could feel different in an hour. And if you think about it, any sticky situation that you get in, that you let your emotions take you over, usually everything is better the next day. It's like pain is a part of life. I mean, there's physical pain, there's different sorts of pain, but it's like suffering is a choice. And if you're mindful of your emotions and you label them and you own them and say, okay, all right, I'm feeling this way right now, but I'm not going to feel this way long. This is temporary, right? It really, really, really helps to deter those self-sabotaging behaviors, okay? And the next thing, this is another exercise I want you to experiment with. And this is something that really helped me. I want you to question your emotions. And this is to help you recognize that every emotion, under each emotion, is an unmet need. Under each emotion, there is an unmet need. If you feel sad or humiliated, that's your emotions telling you that your needs aren't being met somewhere. All right? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to pause and ask the question each time that you feel a strong emotion. And this works better if you will, pause long enough to relax your nervous system. If you can turn on that parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest, help, relax yourself a bit before you do this. Get grounded. If you don't have a process, you can just sit down, close your eyes, and just focus on your breathing. If you could just do that for a few minutes before you go into questioning your emotions, it'll be more effective, and it will help you to access what your heart truly needs. And this shifts you from a constricted mindset and level of awareness to a more expanded level of awareness. And when you can shift that mindset from constricted to expanded, then you're just going to be more open overall to receiving the guidance that you need. So after you've paused and you've relaxed and calm down a bit, turned on that parasympathetic nervous system, ask yourself this question. Just silently repeat it to yourself. What do I really need right now? What do I really need right now? Just think about that question for a bit. No judgment, no expectations. Just ask yourself that question. And whatever comes to you, critically consider what it means and take, some sort of a micro action and offer yourself what you need. Okay? These exercises are highly effective if you use them consistently. And it just turns into another habit. There are good habits and bad habits, and this is developing a really good habit so that you get control of your emotions. And each time you do this, you strengthen your emotional intelligence. And when you operate with a strong level of emotional intelligence, you can rule the world. That's when you manifest what you want. This is all connected to manifestation. This is conscious creation. This right here is how you consciously create what you want. All right? Managing your emotions healthily is the secret to manifestation. It's actually simple yet so complex. And the only reason it's complex and people think manifesting what they want is hard is because of our subconscious programming. Now, I want to make you aware of what we just did together. And whether you believe it or not, it's true, okay? What we just did is we upgraded your brain to a greater place of relaxation and joy. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. And if you've paid any attention to me at all, you're going to hear me talk a lot about brain science. Because when you learn about how your brain really works, things are going to come, you're going to connect the dots about why you think the way you think real fast. Now, our brain is wired toward negativity bias. We're wired for negative emotions. And this hat's driving me crazy. This is due to evolutionary psychology. We inherited this mess from our caveman ancestors. We inherited negativity bias from them. And because of this, it's natural for us to pay more attention to negative experiences and emotions than positive ones. Now, there's science behind this. We have this little almond-shaped structure in our brain called the amygdala. Okay, the amygdala is wired toward negativity bias. The amygdala actually searches for bad news. Now, see, that's where we got the shaft. Because we're not living like our caveman ancestors anymore. We're not in fight, flight, freeze because we're anticipating being killed by a wild animal. That's not what's going on here. Maybe in this day and time, wild animal maybe society is like the metaphor for a wild animal because it's operating out and about in society that causes us to believe all this crazy shit, stay jacked up, have that sympathetic nervous system turned on, and be, stressed out all the time, okay? So we're wired toward negativity bias, but the good news is that, like the workshop we just did, everything I just taught you, that is taking steps toward reprogramming your brain to believe the good stuff over the bad, okay? Makes sense why anxiety, panic attacks happen when that part of the brain is ignited. Well, sure. I get this. I got some notes here because, again, I go off on tangents. Okay, get this. Storing a positive memory takes longer than storing a negative one. Isn't that something else? That's just not fair. Research shows that in order to store a positive experience in the memory, one must hold the feeling for more than 12 seconds. And it takes less than 12 seconds for that negative memory to be stored. It takes up to I think I read somewhere close to maybe 90 seconds for a positive memory to be stored. And it's because we're hardwired to believe the bad over the good. Isn't that something? So I just want to point that out, because that's why people tend to blow negative information and events out of proportion while minimizing or even forgetting the positive events. We all do that. All of us do that. I'll use Will Smith as an example, because he just popped in my head because he was at the Grammys the other night, and it was the first time that I've seen him at a public event for a very long time. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, as we all know, at the damn Academy Awards. He walked up on stage and slapped him. Okay. To my knowledge, up until that point, Will Smith had such a squeaky clean image. Like he had never, ever, I mean, his skirt tail just had never hung before out in public. And he lost his shit one time. And that one negative behavior, that one negative event tainted a lifelong positive, squeaky clean reputation. And I wasn't thinking straight earlier. I meant to say slip was hanging, not skirt tail. Cameron, I saved your videos to watch when I need those reminders. Oh my God, I'm so glad that you do that. I'm so glad you do that. That's why I make them. That's why I make them. Thank you for letting me know that. And I'm thrilled to hear that they're helpful. I have so many resources in my link tree. And I have a podcast. Cameron, I don't know if you watch my podcast, the Thought Snob Podcast, which is named and branded after my book. This is my original trademarked concept, Thought Snob, the modern spiritual playbook for a better life. It's one big exercise in rewriting your subconscious story. And for those of you who are serious about doing that, hey, might be the best $9 you ever spend. I think the paperback is for sale on Amazon right now for like $9.99. Amazon changes the prices at their discretion on the audiobook, I think. But is it $6.99? Oh, okay. See, I don't even know, because they control the prices. But never underestimate the power of a self-help book. I'm telling you, that's why I wanted to write this book, and I will be writing and publishing books for the rest of my life. A self-help book changed my life. It was The Power of Intention by Wayne fucking Dyer, and I love him, and he absolutely came into my life for a reason. And I was lost and sad and miserable and broke and in tons of toxic relationships. Self-sabotaging was my favorite pastime, and Dr. Dyer came around and helped me change everything. And that's why I say never underestimate the power of a self-help book. And I wrote mine to help you do what Dr. Dyer helped me do, okay? All right, so I have tons of stuff here that I could share, but I would like to leave our last few minutes together for you guys to provide any feedback or ask questions maybe about how you can integrate these practices. Well, hey there, Jessica. It's good to see you. Anybody have any questions or comments? I gotta turn my space heater off over here. It is burning me up. Hang on just a second. Ooh, it's a little too hot. Okay. So, any questions, any comments? We just went over a whole lot. Real life and Oh, you're welcome, Jessica. Hi, Paula. Any advice for, where'd you go? Any advice for someone dealing with the spirit of depression? Miss Eve Evans. Well, yeah, I have a lot of things that I can say about that. And I don't want you to feel like you got to air your, dirty laundry or anything here on TikTok. But have you been clinically diagnosed? I mean, have you been diagnosed with depression, or is this just like a gloomy feeling? Because there are, levels of depression, and so I want to make sure that I know where you stand before I say anything. Okay. My question is, what is a recommended meditation before going to sleep or waking up? Oh, you just asked one of my favorite questions. Eve Evans, yes, I have. Okay, I've been diagnosed with a major depressive disorder. Okay, before I get into answering the question about a nighttime meditation, I just want to say I am not a medical doctor. I am not a medical doctor. I am not a psychiatrist. I am a Chopra certified life coach. And I am not qualified to give you any kind of advice about a major depressive disorder. But what I can tell you is, I don't know how you feel about practicing meditation. Sometimes meditation doesn't work well for people with disorders like depression and ADHD, and so I try to tread easy here, but there's a safe practice that you can always use, and it's your breath. Your breath can be used to change your mind. It's incredible. You can always go to your breath, and there are so many breath work exercises that you can experiment with. It's also referred to as pranayama. And that's Sanskrit. It's a term for, your life force. It's your breath, right? You can go to YouTube and you can look up videos about breath work. I have them on there. You can go to my YouTube channel. It's under my name, Paula Swope. You can find it on my link tree. I have done a lot of workshops to show you breath work techniques. I would experiment with some breath work techniques. And I would do this every day, not just on those days when you aren't feeling the best. I would start using breath work every day. I would use breath work at least 10 to 12 minutes a day. And you will probably start to feel better after you do that for a while, because the repetition of doing the breathing exercises has cumulative effects. The more you do the breath work, the better you're going to feel. And it's going to help you to reduce inflammation in your body, and because it's going to release toxins, it's going to release stress. And when you don't, there's a fair share amount of stress that comes along with depression, right? So if you don't interrupt that stress, it's going to accumulate, and it accumulates and it manifests into inflammation in your body. And inflammation is at the root cause of nearly every disease known to man. And through doing breath work daily, you will alleviate that inflammation, like you just chip away at it piece by piece. That is the safest, most solid advice that I would give anybody who has been clinically diagnosed with a major depressive disorder, okay? Val Simpson, even if you have pain in your back, well, you gotta do what feels comfortable for you. And I'm assuming you're talking about breath work. You can lie down. You don't have to sit a certain way. That's all a big myth. And I'm getting ready to get in on the meditation question, because these two are linked. People think you have to sit a certain way to meditate or do breath work. You don't. You don't have to sit a certain way. You can lie down. Getting comfortable, that's what you want to do. That's when it's most effective. Get comfortable. That's the key. All right. Nighttime meditation. All right. I have tons of meditations on my YouTube channel and on my website. I suggest checking those out. However, a good nighttime meditation, and if you can do this 5 minutes before you feel like you're going to go to sleep, then you, oh my God, accomplish so many things, okay? If you start doing this 5 minutes before you go to sleep, you're going to start manifesting the things that you want, because what you do is you are rewiring your subconscious. Now think about this. When you go to sleep and you're worried about something, or you're mad about something, you're upset about something, and you go to sleep and you don't deal with that shit, it is like marinating in your subconscious. And you're either repressing or suppressing the emotions. You're not letting them out. And so you go to sleep on that, and you wake up the next morning, and I used to do this, and you might feel a lump in your throat, or you wake up and you just have ickies, like you feel like something's wrong and you can't put your finger on it, or you wake up and you have anxiety. Oh, good, Raven, thank you. Just subscribe to my YouTube, thank you. You wake up, you got just something, the feeling in the pit of your stomach, and it's not good. A lot of that is from going to sleep on a bad note. At night, before you go to sleep, think about how you want the next day to go. Like, ideally, your perfect day. Think about how you want that day to go. And think about it from beginning to end. That is a really good way to go to sleep, okay? Another thing is to do breath work before you go to sleep. And a really good breath work exercise to do, there are so many. You just want to slow down your breath. And when you slow down your breath, you slow down your heart rate, you turn on that parasympathetic nervous system, you turn on your rest and digest, and you're going to, release some stuff that needs to be released, all right? So you can do box breathing. I love box breathing. And that's just where you inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. But inhale to the count of 4, and then you hold for a count of 4. And then exhale for a count of 4. And hold for a count of 4. And repeat. And just do that before you go to sleep. Another, if you like to go to sleep, I can't go to sleep with any kind of noise whatsoever. But if you like to go to sleep with some background noise or music or whatever, turn on some solfeggio frequencies. Think about what you want. And a really good way to get zoned in on this before you go to bed is to just journal. If you like to write, man, journaling is really, really powerful, especially at bedtime. If you've had a bad day, then just get it all out. Get it all out on paper, and then switch it over and think about, okay, so how do I want tomorrow to go? And identify 2 or 3 things that you would like to see happen the next day, and focus on those before you go to sleep. That's a great meditation. Just hold those visions in your mind. Here's another one. See, these keep coming to me. I have so many. If there is a word, like one word, like your mantra, like one word that encompasses everything you want, okay? If there's one word, mine is wealth. Because to me, wealth is a whole lot more than rich. Wealth is like big picture stuff. Wealth. If you're wealthy, you have it all right? Hang on, Elizabeth Cash. Can you do a TikTok on this so I can tag it and have it to remind me? I'm going to be posting this. I'll post this video on my YouTube. I always post my TikTok lives on my YouTube channel. And then a lot of these meditations are already on my TikTok page and my website, okay? So it's out there, but you're going to get access to this because when TikTok makes this video available, I'll post it on YouTube. So if you identify a word, just one word, that really encompasses the life that you want. Hang on, TikTok's making me do this little puzzle thingy. Okay, there we go. All right, like I said, mine's wealth. That's my word because that's big picture. If you're wealthy, you're financially stable, you're healthy, you're emotionally intelligent, you got it all right? That's my word. And I went from a place of absolute scarcity to wealth. And there's no going back when you get to that level of peace. And think about, ideally, what is it that you want? And come up with one word. Is it freedom? Is it wealth? Is it peace? You know, what is it? To me, wealth just encompasses that all. I'm not trying to sway you on choosing your word, though. You got to choose the word that resonates with you. So before you go to sleep, if you nail down that word, just go to sleep. And as you're lying there and your eyes are closed, you want to draw your attention to your breath, and that will activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Just focus on your breath for a bit, and then start to spell that word out using your mind's eye. I'll use wealth as an example, okay? As you're lying there with your eyes shut, you'll see the W. Just watch the W. When you get a great mental, clear picture of that W, move on to the E. Focus on that E. Move on to the A. And then watch the L, see the L, and then see the T, and see the H. And then when it's all spelled out, and you can take as much time as you want forming those letters in your mind's eye, you just lie there and you're breathing, and you see that word, wealth, and just focus on that word. And then you can think that with each inhale deeply, you can think, I'm breathing in wealth, breathing it in. And then with each exhale, when you exhale, I'm breathing out what doesn't serve me. Inhale, breathing in wealth, exhale, exhaling out what doesn't serve you. And when you exhale out, if you want to see something that doesn't serve you leaving your body, then see it, or you could visualize it as, black smoke or something like that. You can experiment with that a little bit. You'd be surprised what will pop into your head when you're doing this stuff. And just roll with it, okay? Okay, everybody. It is 3:02. So I'm going to have to close out. I've really enjoyed today. I feel like we did a lot of great work, and I'm glad that you stuck in there with me. I appreciate it so much. And like I was telling Elizabeth just a second ago, as soon as TikTok makes this video available, I will put it on my YouTube channel. And so please go to my link tree, find my YouTube channel, go there, like and subscribe. Don't forget about the Thought Snob podcast. It's available wherever you get your podcast. That whole freaking podcast is about conscious creation. It's about helping you heal. I have brought in experts from everywhere to come on the show and communicate various techniques, because you got to find what works for you. One technique, you might not like it. So it's not a one size fits all. And that's why I offer just a big old smorgasbord of it to help you heal and help you to consciously create, because we're always manifesting. And, you've manifested so many things that you don't want. And if you can do that, you can manifest what you do want. So it's like, just stop unconsciously creating. It's robbing you. It's robbing you of everything that you want and that you're meant for. And if you want something, you're meant to have it. Otherwise, you wouldn't want it. That's how your intuition communicates with you, okay? I can't stress that enough. You're welcome, Val Simpson. Thank you for being here. And yes, Elizabeth, yes, please follow and subscribe. I make it worth your time. I don't waste anybody's time. And don't forget about Thought Snob. My heart and soul is in this. If you don't have a copy, please check it out. Thought Snob, the modern spiritual playbook for a better life. You can find it on Amazon. The link is in my bio. It's available in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook, okay? All right, guys, I'll be back on Wednesday with another topic. I have no idea what that's going to be. If there's something specific you want me to talk about, let me know. You can contact me through my website at paulaswope.com. That link is in my link tree too, okay? All right, make it a great day, and I will see you soon.